we will open it up to questions at the end of that content. For many folks, they've heard a lot about millennials or they've heard about Generation X. This incoming class's generation is actually called Generation Z or iGen. It's anyone who's born between 1995 and 2012. And primarily this incoming class and this generation of students is around the 2000s in terms of their birth year. So they fall right in this Generation Z category. Many of their parents are millennials or Gen Xers. And so that adds another layer to how we market to students, because what they are looking for and what they demand are very different between their parents and the students themselves. This generation of students very much is expecting individualization, and they really value being looked at as an individual. They have grown up in a world where everything was customized to them and everything was accessible at their fingertips. So they're used to that happening. They also are very work focused, and so we've seen a big shift in the demand for students to see the career pathway for any of the areas of interest or majors that they're looking to pursue in college. And because they have seen what a recession looks like and their families have sometimes really struggled with finances or predictability in terms of a job market, they are very practical and very risk adverse. They're also very, very cost conscious and debt adverse. So the cost of higher education and the value of that investment is it's a challenge for them, and it's a challenge for us as we are marketing to them. There's never been a time when the value on higher education has been lower for our country. And so parents and students are really having to we have to prove it to them regularly that there is value in getting a college degree. And that's part of where the focus on that career and those outcomes really becomes so critical and important. They also tend to take longer to what I like to call adulting. So they tend to take longer to do things like working, dating, driving, and honestly going to college or thinking about those next steps. They tend to be a little bit more leery of things, so have a little bit less confidence or a little less optimistic, and very, very concerned about safety. Their entire world has been built around a time where there's been some questions about the safety, not only on college campuses, but in high schools and across our country. And they primarily socialize by using their phones. So gone are the times when people wanted to come together in big groups and have large discussions. We have to make sure that we are in front of them as they are on social media or on their phones looking for content, and making sure that we're present and in front of them in that venue is critical. Their parents are also very much accustomed to being on their phone continuously, and so that becomes a really key part of our marketing that we'll get into a little bit later. Overall, how this is playing out in the marketplace has shown us a few things. One is that the cost of higher education and the sticker shock that can come by a high price tag has even more of an effect on families than it ever has before, and that's even families with the ability to pay. So we hear often from families who truly have the means to cover the cost of attendance at Alma that they are not willing to pay that price, or that they have concerns about the cost of college. And so that's something that we have to be really conscious of. And that's why, as Melinda and I will talk about later, we focus so much on value and the value of that investment. The reputation of a college really matters as well. And students and parents really are checking that out online. And so it's critical to have good Google ratings, good Facebook ratings. It's less important in terms of a ranking to a family as your ratings might be on some of the sites that they would go to look at how many stars you have on your Facebook page or how you're rated on Google. And so it's just a little bit of a different dynamic in terms of where they're looking to see quality and where they're looking to see the feedback from current students and alumni. The high sticker price, like at a school like Alma, really does drive expectations of really high quality and a lot of personal touches. And so we make sure that we are delivering on that throughout the entire admissions process and while a student is here on campus. And that takes a lot of time and energy from the faculty and staff here on campus. We do luck out because we are already built to be a small, intentional, individualized institution. And so that plays really well in the marketplace right now and with students and their families. I already talked a little bit about how that academic alignment to jobs are so critical and so important. And ultimately, they're judging the worth of an institution by their postgraduate results. And so we talk often about our our placement into a job or graduate school, and that truly is one of the biggest things that people are judging colleges on. And so we are lucky in the fact that that number has been going up for us, and we're nearing 95% for this most recent graduating class. And so that is really a positive, but it takes a lot of work from our career services folks and our folks in the Center for Student Opportunity to make sure that we are following through on that outcome. And now I'm going to turn it over to Melinda so that she can talk a little bit more about how we take this background information and apply it to the work that we're doing here at the college.
So to best communicate the value and quality of an Alma education, as Amanda was just discussing, our community, our campus community worked together to crystallize all of those communication marketing messages into one overarching brand statement. And what that does is ensure that we're all consistent in how we describe ourselves, whether it's to prospective students, to parents, or to other external audiences. So at that time, we also created this video that I think really describes what it means to be a Scot.
At Alma College, we are a community. We like to collaborate, to share our thoughts and opinions, and to turn good ideas into great ones. We respect each other. We support our colleagues in reaching their goals, personal and professional. And as a community, we celebrate our successes. We are student-focused and committed to delivering on our promises. Faculty and staff give their time, talents, and energies to creating amazing learning and growth opportunities. We don't shy away from work. Work gives life purpose, joy, and satisfaction. It transforms all it touches. It can solve problems, right wrongs, and teaches new ways to think and to dream. We are engaged, enthusiastic, and passionate about learning. We work hard, but we also play hard, recognizing that a life lived in balance is a more rewarding life. And we are proud of our Scottish heritage. No one loves the sound of bagpipes more than we do. At Alma College, we don't run from responsibility, we run toward it. Like our Scots forebears, we have a wide streak of stubborn and plaid sense of style. Hard work doesn't scare us, it strengthens us, gives us purpose, and inspires us to dream. Our graduates are the proof of this simple proposition. Plaid works, the world will be better for them.
So here is kind of the real boiled down core brand statement, which as you can see, like the video script is written in really succinct and engaging language with more of a marketing tone. But it describes the determination we have at Alma to graduate students who are ready to lead purposeful lives and to make their communities and world a better place. All other marketing messages really stem from this core brand statement, and they're interwoven throughout all of the examples that I'm about to show you, whether that's through photography, design, or through content.
And as we get started in showing you those examples, one of the things we wanted to share with everyone is we have been working on some toolkits and some additional materials for folks that we'll mention at the very end of this presentation as well. But we have recorded a video to really help with you reaching out to prospective students or their families to talk about Alma College. So to take all these pieces and really do that in a succinct manner. And so I've actually have a video of our new Senior Director of Admissions, Charles Cotton, giving a little bit of an overview of what we like to call the college fair pitch, but you probably know about it more as an elevator pitch. So when you just have a small amount of time to talk with a family about what is Alma College and what makes it different from other schools.
Good morning. My name is Charles Cotton. I'm the Senior Director of Admissions here at Alma College, and today I have the opportunity to share with you all an example of an elevator pitch that our admissions representatives are providing to prospective students and prospective families. As a disclaimer, I would just like to let you know that this is in no way, shape, or form a one-size-fits-all approach or model, but ultimately understanding that each of our representatives are able to customize this conversation to make sure that they're highlighting those points of pride that are most impactful for that individual student that they're working with. So, Alma College, small, private, liberal arts institution located in the heart of Michigan's Lower Peninsula, with about 1,450 students, an average class size of 18, a student-faculty ratio of 11:1. Not only are we able to tell students, but ultimately they're able to see when they arrive on campus that they're an integral part of our community. Together, students, faculty, staff, all make up a very inclusive and welcoming environment for folks from all across the world. Important to us on the academic spectrum is making sure that we're preparing students to be leaders and change agents at time of departure from the institution. And we do this through a developmental approach that I like to reference as creating T-shaped individuals, right? So making sure that we are providing students an exposure to a wide breadth of academic curriculum, extracurricular opportunities, and development within conversation and thought on a day in and day out basis. But two, that we're providing those students with an opportunity to dive deep within content area that's most important to them. In addition to our investment in developing these T-shaped individuals, we also like to make sure that our academics are paired with experiential learning. Through the efforts of our Ventures program, which provides students with up to $2,500 during their time here at Alma to explore out of the classroom experiences, as well as the efforts of our student support services, we've been able to see that 97% of our students are connected with experiential learning during their time here at Alma. Tying into that, something that's also very important to us is our Alma commitment, which is this is our commitment to our students for on-time graduation. We do this by making sure that we're preparing students for all those necessary steps to reach that goal, but ultimately to make sure that they're not only graduating, but that they're prepared to go off and do whatever they're looking forward to after graduation. Some of the ways that we like to work on this is through our career services team, who does an amazing job of making sure that we have several different career fairs, that we're preparing students for those interviews, that faculty members are writing very personalized recommendation letters, but ultimately that faculty members are developing a plan with those students through individual advising. Lastly, we also embed within our academic curriculum opportunities for practical applications to work within all of our academic explorations here. And what we found is that this has led to a 93% placement rate of our students either in the workforce, so employment, or directly into graduate school within 6 months of graduation. So ultimately, this tells me that not only are we allowing students to develop or redefine their areas of interest, but that those students are able to transform those into lifelong pursuits. So I hope that this brief elevator pitch was helpful for you all, and thank you for joining.
So now as we think about how we boil down these key marketing messages for students, we primarily focus on three main things, especially thinking about the current marketplace and what this generation of students is looking for. One is the fact that the Alma College community is very dedicated to the success of our students here. We talk a lot about the Alma College family. The examples of this and the shape that this can take really varies based on the student or the event that we're having on campus. So that can be everything from talking about our World Championship Model United Nations team, talking about how the choir performs in Scotland, about how an individual as faculty member supported a student to ultimately be successful. So it can take on different shapes as we're talking to families. We talk a lot about the fact that we have a world of opportunities for students. So that can be our venture program, our Posey Global program, really talking about the fact that the opportunities available at Alma are available to all students. It's not just a matter that we have these things, but that all students are able to have those opportunities. And the fact that they can access all those opportunities early and often. And so students can, for example, do a Posey Global trip where they travel the world in their first year. Students can be doing research with our STEM faculty even before they start classes. So it's not as though we just have these opportunities on a shelf somewhere. Students are engaging in them, and students are having the accessibility of all of these things throughout their entire time at Alma. And because we are a small campus community, we can provide a very supportive campus environment, and we can really customize, individualize their time on campus. This leads us into our value proposition. So why is it worthwhile to spend more on an Alma College education than another institution? One thing that we have noticed over the last 2 or 3 years is more and more students who have been accepted to Alma College are actually deciding to go to community college. So they are looking at the fact that this is a significant investment in their education, and they are looking to see if there are other options that can be lower cost for their family. This is a national trend. It's not just something that Alma College is seeing, but it's something that we need to make sure that we're preparing for. And so some of that work has been done with our transfer initiatives, making sure students have a clear pathway to transfer, but then also really talking about the value of being at Alma for their entire college career. So talking to students about how Alma is worth that investment and how it's a shared investment between the college and the student, and that the value is really there. A big piece of why there's so much value to an Alma education is it's not just a set it and forget it type of experience. We work with students to really customize their education here at Alma, and whether they know exactly where they want to be or they're discovering it along the way, we've got a group of faculty and staff that are really partners with their education. Are really partnering them with their education to be sure that they're getting to where they ultimately need to be post-graduation. And so we're really able to focus how time at Alma allows them to become an important part of our community, and then they're transformed to become wonderful alumni. And so the alumni stories is a key piece of what we talk about in this value proposition. You pay more for personalization no matter where you go, but you'd rather go somewhere where you are known, where you're valued, and where we can really customize the work that we're doing for what you need. And so that is really at the core of how we talk about the value of an Alma College education. And the fact that those students also bring value to our campus community is an important piece of that. Related to that, liberal arts colleges have kind of gotten a bad rap in the past about not giving students enough focus or enough career focus. That has been shifting, but even knowing that that shift is happening, what we are hearing from employers is that they actually want liberal arts graduates. So about 80% of employers say that they believe all students should acquire the broad knowledge that comes from a liberal arts and sciences degree and background. And so they really are focusing on seeing that background in students, making a liberal arts degree even more important in the marketplace as students are going out to find a job. And what also is nice from that same exact study is that 93% of employers are looking for exactly the type of things that we state in our mission for our graduates. And that's thinking critically, being able to communicate, being able to really be leaders and change agents in the world that they're in. And so it really shows how we're already doing all the right things at Alma, but getting the word out about the value of that education. Employers are seeing it, but we need to make sure that families are also seeing it. So getting the word out about that education to prospective students and their families is even more critical than it's ever been.
So to get the word out about the value of an Alma College education and of a liberal arts education specifically, part of what we do in the marketing department is to help recommend the best media mix to reach all those different audiences. We use national and regional data to determine where they're spending their time digitally, but also geographically, and we use all that information to target the groups that you see here, whether it's prospective students, their parents, high school counselors, community college counselors, and a host of other influencers like alumni and friends. So while we utilize a variety of platforms like you see here to share a message, promote an event, push a deadline, we always make sure that the creative look and feel and the content that we use is consistent across all of them, and all can lead back to our brand statement and the mission of the college. So here's an example of our work with a partner vendor where they're creating personalized landing pages, which is an acronym for that PEARL there. You can see that would be melindabooth.becomeascot.com, for example, personalized URL. So that further reinforces the fact that at Alma College, you're going to receive personalized attention. We still utilize print marketing here at Alma College, though we tend to do that a little bit less as we focus more on digital marketing. But here's a great example of how we send every single new Scot a congratulatory package that not only celebrates with them, but urges them to complete the next step toward committing to the college and kind of becoming a part of our community.
It comes with confetti, so they can throw a party and take photos for social media.
Party in an envelope. And then digital has been increasingly an important part of our media mix. So here you can see an ad that would show up within a search campaign on the left. And then we also run extensive digital campaigns across social media. So that would be mainly Facebook and Instagram, depending on what type of message and who we're trying to reach. But we work very closely with the marketing department, Amanda and I together, and our teams to schedule these ads throughout the year. Different times of the year we're promoting applications, events, transferring to Alma, and then finally making that final commitment and depositing to Alma for the fall.
I think one of the things that's really important, especially about the digital campaigns, is Melinda and I work with a lot of our vendors and the folks that help us to launch the digital campaigns to be always looking at our return on investment. So for example, we just found out a few weeks ago that a specific photo was not doing well in our digital campaigns, and so we were able to respond quickly and switch that out for a different photo that has responded better and gotten better engagement from families. You can do a lot with digital now, so we can see how long someone is looking at an email, what they're doing, where they're going, and we can utilize that to our advantage quite a bit. But it also plays into why the digital world is so critical to the recruiting that we do, which leads into how you can help us. So as we are thinking towards recruiting the next great Scots and bringing in students, there's a number of things that you all can do to help. I'm hopeful that all of you are already ambassadors, but if not, I recommend that you sign up for the ambassador program, which you can do online from our website. That's the team of folks that are ready to help students as they're coming into Alma while they're here and beyond. And then we really encourage you to share your Alma experience on social media, and that's both personally as well as sharing social media posts from the college and then actively participating in any online promotions that we do. And then really another piece that can help us, especially on the digital front, is agreeing to have your story or profile featured on our website or in social media. We tend to go back to the same types of stories of students and alumni often, largely because that's what we have in our toolbox. So the more that we can get in terms of what are you doing now, how did your Alma education help you to get where you're at, it can really help us to promote that to students. We are also always looking for volunteers to help us do specific outreach to parents and students who share similar interests. When I first started in admissions, we would do lots of really broad campaigns. So we would ask an alum to write 50 postcards to a list of students. We've stopped doing a lot of that. What we do now is have very, very specific tasks for someone who have similar interests to that student or that parent or that family. So for example, someone who's interested in going into dentistry, we may have one of our alumni who are a dentist reach out to those students. And so it's a matter of kind of matchmaking and connecting you all to the right people. We have numerous events that are also throughout the state of Michigan primarily, but also in some out-of-state markets such as Chicago, Arizona, Texas, and California, to where we may be reaching out to you as well in terms of helping us at some of those events and sharing your Alma story with more local students. Please encourage any prospective students you know to visit Alma, to apply. You can refer them for the Alma College Referral Scholarship, but help us to get to know who those students are that would be good fits here at Alma. And then anything you can do to help assist our current students have a great experience also ultimately helps us. It's a big cycle where those great outcomes really help us on the incoming class as well. So that could be sponsoring an internship, helping a student go into a new area, talking about job placement with a student, or mentoring a student here on campus can be a great help for us. And then as always, like I mentioned, we try to be really specific when we reach out with a project or something that we need, but if you can help us when asked, that's always greatly appreciated. And if you're an ambassador, it helps us to make those connections even easier and stronger. So these are all overarching things you can do for us, but we wanted to give you some really actionable items you can take and do today. So you've heard this webinar, we'll try to get you done before the end of the lunch hour and you have 10 minutes. What can you do? And so these are two things that we're hoping that everyone will take a few minutes to do today. One is refer a high schooler that you know or have in your life. We just need at least some kind of contact information for them, and that can be their parents' contact information. You can do that right on the website, alma.edu/refer. As many of you probably know, they will receive a $1,500 scholarship in your name during the 4 years that they're here at Alma if they're referred. With that as well, we have eliminated the deadline on the referral scholarship. So now students can be referred at any point in time in the year, but they do need to be referred prior to their acceptance to the college. And then the other thing that we're hoping that everyone can do is go to the Alma College Facebook page and leave a positive rating. So go on to our Facebook page, make sure you're following that page, give us a 5-star rating, and talk about how awesome Alma is. Especially since we have lower numbers in terms of those ratings, one poor rating can have a really negative effect on us. So for example, one of the construction staff members had a bad parking experience this year and gave us a 1-star rating. That actually hurt our overall rating quite a bit. So the more positive ratings we can have on there, the better it really helps us. So those are two things, both of which you can do in less than 10 minutes that we'd really encourage everyone who's here today to do today to help us. And then we would like to open it up now to any questions or discussion. And I did want to mention we have an ambassador toolkit that's available. It's a Google Drive that you can go onto from anywhere that has a lot of resources for you. So that includes videos, marketing materials, news releases, talking points, lots of things that can really help you as you're meeting with students. Almost all of that can be shared directly with students. You would know clearly if it's something that you probably shouldn't be sharing, so they don't really need the alumni training guide, for example. But almost anything in that toolkit you can feel free to share with prospective students as well. And we'd like to, Bill, if you want to go ahead and unmute folks, we'd like to turn it over for any questions or discussion folks would like to have.
Sure thing. I think we can go ahead and I can unmute folks, or if you want to unmute yourself, you have the control. If you scroll over your screen in the bottom left corner, you should have a piece there that you can unmute and ask a question.
Can you hear me? This is Jennifer Hart.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. So I'm from Northville, Michigan, and my son is a current freshman. And one of the big reasons why he chose Alma, aside from all of the things that you've previously mentioned, is he graduated with an IB diploma. And so I think really the value of that at Alma is really high of importance for like the other students at his high school. They have a small diploma program, and out of the 24 graduates, 3 from his class actually attend Alma now as freshmen. So I think continuing to spread the information about the credits that you receive when compared with some of the other smaller Division III colleges in Michigan, or even like U of M and things like that, where he, applied and was accepted. What is the best way to kind of get the word out on that from my perspective? As I teach in the district as well, just so you know. So I'm looking at how to best approach some of those kids that are really stuck on the I'm going to go to U of M or I'm going to go to Michigan State, and kind of help them see the value in Alma versus the Big Ten schools as far as, credits and the personalization of your education.
I think that is a great point. So for the folks that don't know, any student who has an IB diploma, which is sort of like a more intense AP curriculum. So it's students who are on a pathway where they're taking higher level classes, and then they do a really comprehensive process at the end that includes large amounts of research, a lot of writing, exams. And then once you receive the diploma at Alma College, you receive 32 credits. So it's even more than a full year of undergraduate credit at Alma. And so students can take that credit and do lots of things with it. You can graduate early, you can do multiple majors, you can have even more flexibility. It's really up to the student in partnership with their advisor to decide how they move forward with that additional credit. But it is a huge value added for IB students here at Alma. A couple immediate things that would be very helpful that you could help us with getting the word out. We like to get in front of the people that are teaching the IB classes to let them know so they can refer students and let students know about it. So we even have a poster they can post in their classrooms that we can get out to alumni to distribute to those IB faculty teachers in high schools. And with that, we try to get in front of the IB students by sharing that information with them as soon as they raise their hand and let us know that they are interested in coming to Alma. And we do extra attention. We have extra attention spent with high schools with IB diploma programs. So like, for example, when we travel to the Chicago area, we will prioritize visiting high schools with IB programs to be sure that we can share that message. So the things that you can really help us with is referring students that you know from your son's experience might be good fits at Alma. And then we can get you a supply of posters, whether it's you, Jennifer, or anyone, so that you can share that with people that you know who teach those IB classes to get the word out even more.
Okay, great.
And it actually might be a good digital campaign for us to do too. So we've never done that as a digital campaign, and that's actually a good thing to bring to the forefront for us because we are very different from other institutions.
Well, and also there's been an increase in Michigan of schools offering the IB diploma program, and being that it's relatively new, you know, in Michigan per se, a lot of parents aren't sure, like I never heard of IB, I didn't know anything about it, so I really had to do a ton of investigation, and some parents don't do quite as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, advanced placement is much more known, but IB is really up and coming.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions that people have or comments?
This is Dale Nestor.
Hi, Dale.
Hi, from running a dental office and making sure that all of your team understands your goals and your mission statement and your focus, and having that lead to a better communication with your clients, I just really want to applaud you on this webinar, if you would, in that we've properly identified the new generation. We've also given us that elevator speech, those bullet points, because the more people understand what the focus is and what, we all have our personal ideas of why it's been so good for us, but putting that little flavor on the important bullet points that are relevant to today's students and parents, I think is essential for success. And I applaud you for what I think was a very informative and concise webinar today. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Dale. And that's something that is really important to Melinda and I. So we talk often to make sure that we are basically all on the same page in how we're describing Alma. A few years ago, I don't think we were in as good of a position in terms of knowing who we were as an institution and being able to share that broadly with the larger population. And we've had to really do a lot of focus groups, research on the college, and really identify who we are and who we want to be, and really make sure that we pare that down to something that anyone can relate to and that people just kind of have in the back of their mind. It's one, now that we have a few things that are really distinctive, like the Alma Commitment, the Posey Global Program, individualized education, those are easier things for people to remember to automatically go to when someone asks, what is Alma College known for, or why would a student go to Alma?
Well, at the same time, I'm hoping, because I do some continuing education through Invisalign, and all of their webinars are recorded and then are cataloged for review. Hopefully this has been recorded and put in your archives so that other individuals interested in learning about the improved ambassador program have an opportunity to be directed to it and get the same information we got today.
Dale, this is Melinda, and I'm really pleased to tell you that we actually just launched Tartan Talks webinar landing page that does have the past recordings of all of the webinars and applicable links. So for instance, when this one goes live, it will have the link to rewatch the webinar and also the link to the toolkit. So
That's
we're right there with
fantastic.
you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any further questions or comments? If not, I think we can wrap this up, and just want to say thank you again to Amanda and Melinda for providing this great information. Thank you all for being here and taking the time to learn a bit more about how we are trying to market Alma and helping us spread the word about what a great place we have and why we know that it's the place to be for so many students.